It was by chance that in about the year 2000, I think, I wound up in the desert on a visit to Yucca America's planned nuclear waste repository, 100 miles north of Las Vegas. A hole in the ground where $10+ billion were spent on vastly expensive experiments, trying to prove that this place is going to be absolutely safe, quote, for the next 10,000 years. So it just felt like, wait a minute, people, this is nuts. Among other things, have you even thought, you know, we were professional futurists, many of us were on this trip, what exactly is this world 10,000 years from now that we're trying to protect? Science fiction is what we were playing out at vast expense at Yucca Mountain. The kinds of experiments they were doing in that mountain, it's not a mountain, it's just a ridge, certainly didn't persuade anybody for political reasons. Yucca Mountain was not opened and will probably never be opened. Then I started to look at, well, what actually is the amount of hazard that comes from nuclear waste? The first thing I found out is what people were actually doing with the nuclear waste, which is being generated all this time by every nuclear power plant. Turns out to be pretty good. They just put it in this pretty simple but very workable dry cask storage, and they park it out back of the parking lot, and you can go there and see it. There's the nation's nuclear waste. Is it causing any problems? No. The other realization for me, and it took a while to get through, is that by not putting it in the ground, you've got the option to use it as fuel in fourth generation reactors. Wow, we can take this waste from the nuclear plant and recycle it into fuel, either by reprocessing or by having a new kind of reactor that uses it as fuel. That looks very much like a renewable resource.
People are always talking about nuclear waste, the accumulation of nuclear waste, and I did too. I think it's around 70,000 tons have accumulated of used fuel in the United States. I thought the quantity was staggering. In fact, all the spent nuclear fuel from commercial nuclear plants in the United States could fit in a single football field if you stack the fuel rods to a height of about 3 meters. That's it. But of that, only a very small fraction, mainly plutonium, is long-lived. By long-lived, I mean would still be hot thousands of years from now, still be highly radioactive.
Volumetrically, nuclear produces tiny amounts of waste. The entire waste production from France's 50 nuclear power stations, which produce 80% of the country's electricity, are under the floor in one room. Compare that with the billions of tons of waste produced by coal-fired power stations. It completely blows away most of the anti-nuclear arguments. It's not, nuclear waste is not an environmental issue. It's not something which, as an environmentalist, I'm concerned about.